Hello and welcome back to the FNCS Invitational. We just got done wrapping up the games over in EU, and we know the top 20 that will be joining the 80 in tomorrow's Grand Finals. To kick off the first set of games in NA East, we got Monster Deface. We got Aussie Antics out here from Australia. Hopefully your internet doesn't whack out like that one time, huh, Aussie?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's looking pretty good. Everything's going well. But yes, if you see me disappear randomly, please don't give the other casters a hard time. I know sometimes they have to fill in for me. But yeah, I'm hoping that today's looking good. I mean, it's looking pretty good on my end. I'm feeling good for it.
Just send pics of the little puppy corgi, okay? That's how you'll make it up to us. And everything will be fine. That's it. That's it.
Fair.
Now, of course, guys, we are getting ready to hop into some games. But in case you're just tuning in and you missed all the games in EU, we should talk about the 80 players that are already waiting in Grand Finals, and then the top 20 that did push through to make a total of 100 players in tomorrow's Grand Finals. Here is your list. Now, keep in mind, the first set of players here will be, in, of course, that top 80 in the order that they did play. So we see Benji Fishy in that #1 spot there, Monster. I mean, this is a pretty stacked list already.
Absolutely, followed by Wolfies, Kiriashi, Leshi, and everyone else here on this first page right now. Every single player listed here, Aussie, is someone to be feared, someone to be reckoned with. These are the biggest of the biggest names in the EU region. I mean, you see Mongrel up there as well.
Oh, I mean, top 80 EU, that's pretty hard tall order. You have Benji Fishy obviously going back-to-back wins, which was ridiculous. So we'll have to see if he goes into the finals with it. But yeah, as we come through, so many massive names. I mean, EU is just star-studded. It always is. I see Kessler up there. There's so many big names. Mex. Now we got the Solari boys making up there. Mage, who we watched a little bit in the Opens. I know he was dominating, so he made it straight through. So it's been crazy to see it, that whole storyline of who went from Opens straight all the way through to finals now as well. Have you seen any kind of players on here as well that you've been looking out for in those games, especially, Zeke?
Man, for me, it's got to be Aqua, and then it's got to be Benji, right? You cannot deny Benji's dominance here in this first few set of weeks. I mean, to get a #1 spot like that in an already stacked lobby, I want him to do well. The problem is that as we continue to look, there's a lot of big names, and here on this final page, we do have the 20 that joined in from today. Kind of going back to my point, though, there's a lot of big names here. Like, no one is safe, and EU showed us that, right? A lot of these players that we thought were going to push through and make it in the top 20 guaranteed, they didn't. And they got pulled out there at the end. But, you know, that's just how the way goes sometimes. But, of course, guys, let's go ahead and talk about the show itself, how things are going to operate. Now, this is the overall format of the tournament itself. Right now, we're in that reboot round. The top 20 from every region will qualify for tomorrow's Grand Finals after 10 games. Tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, we've got the Grand Finals, where 80 players are already waiting there. And after 12 games, 6 games both days, there will be an FNCS Invitational champion. Taking a look at the format itself, pretty familiar. Victory Royale are worth those 33 points. Top 10 is kind of where you want to land if you're looking for that consistency factor. And of course, every single elimination is worth 4 points. And that played a pretty big role out in EU, where a lot of players were looking to find eliminations and use that to fuel their momentum as they hit and search for that top 20 spot. Now, of course, please do keep in mind that this is just the reboot round, so there's actually no prizing. This is just for a second shot to make it into Grand Finals. Of course, guys, we got to talk about NA East. We got to switch gears. You know, NA East, for the last few weeks, as much as I would love to believe that it was me that spoke it into the universe, they're aware of what this is, right? They've all been bringing that heat. And for a lot of these guys that are looking to make top 20, they really need to get something going today. With only 10 games, and especially as cutthroat as EU was, we should expect more of that in NA East.
There was a special player from EU, Lysen, who went from console to PC, who qualified just now for the Grand Finals as well. I want to see if Big 60 can do the same. These are players that fell through that we were keeping an eye on but didn't quite pull it. So this is now make or break time, Zeke.
That's right, guys. Well, it's time. Let's take it into the first game of NA East.
Thank you so very much, Zeke. And like he said, we are kicking things off right now with the reboot round for the NA East region. This is Nate Hill we're touching base with right now. Aussie, how are things going to be looking for him? He's been on a bit of a struggle bus in the solo competition. There is a lot of pressure right now.
We're starting out with Royalty. Nate Hill obviously been a huge name in competitive Fortnite for a very long time, and showing why, just jumps through, gets the easy 70 tag and finishes him off. I mean, it's an interesting drop. It's one of those ones you think could be a little bit safer, but there's quite a few areas around here where people go for these safer rotates. So, and not surprising here to see Nate Hill, someone who's been in competitive for a very long time, going for that smarter, safer rotate and picking up the elimination on the way. He's looking good as we go to the complete polar opposite of the safer rotates, and we're jumping in with Agency with Damien.
That's right. The Agency, tough location, center map, always bound to get zoned on the first kind of swing around town. As Damien's here holding the height right now, trying to get good vision on the players down below him. You can hear that there is someone you can see off on that little map right there. The colored crosshair is the player that is cruising around there, and there he spotted him, the little ramp that's right in front. Aussie, I think this is going to be a fight that might break out here. He's inching his way up.
Yeah, looking like with the henchman in between, which is always going to change things up, and there it is. Has to go for the henchman. Maybe trying to stay secret there. Can't stay secret for long. You got to take out the henchman. Ramp's coming out. Here we go. Damien's going for it. Loses the high ground very quickly. Ramp straight up in line. Doesn't put up a floor. Doesn't put up a wall to try and block that one. Has now lost the high ground. Only has 14 builds as well. Early Agency, when henchman drops mats, it was a little bit easy to deal with, but now it's very difficult to find those materials for these long engagements. But Damien taking the low ground shot, the 80 pump tag, SMG spray coming out. I think he's got him on the back foot. Doesn't make the same mistake twice. Drops the cone to block the stair, and now he's going to try and find his way, and has the edit, and there it is. And if I can see that right, he also had the purple pump. That was a massive pickup for Damien. If he now has uncontested Agency, grabs the vault and a purple pump.
Yeah, crazy. LaCour can even get a shot off on defense there. Damien was just 2 steps ahead, cracking the shields every single second of the way. And now you can hear Midas's drum gun letting loose right now as we hop on over to another major point of interest. It's going to be the Shark here, where Luniz is fighting for his life right now. He's going to be going up against Sky's Assault Rifle and the Shark Grappler loot right now as he loses the high ground. He's trying to build his way up here, Aussie. How's he going to be able to manage this one here?
Yeah, he's in this fight right now. It's interesting to see his drops at the Shark. So we got like a bit of a... Oh, he drops down, takes him out. Oh, the beautiful pump shot, the flick pump. We all know Luniz. Obviously, if you guys have seen it, for me, one of my favorite stories going into World Cup. Qualified for solos. I mean, that video got a lot of views. I'm pretty sure most people know Luni's story if you've been watching for a while. But interesting seeing the Shark drop here. Kind of a throwback maybe to... This is one of Arab's very good friends and old duo partners. Arab, who we spoke to earlier, obviously known for dropping the Shark. So I wonder if maybe he sees today Arab's not there. Shark's up for grabs for me now.
Yeah, don't count him out, finishing 153rd in the week too, so he was almost there. He was knocking on the door. We'll see if he can continue to pile drive through this competition today, as we have seen up until now, the week 2 performers tend to stay consistent all the way through. They are definitely the scariest to look out for. Now looking at Drew here, though, who's in a cone. He's going to try and jump out, going for the 50-50, but multiple players here, Aussie. It's not looking good for him. The shots are coming in.
No, yeah, the Sharks smell blood in the water. They're trying to push in for this one. Has there to goes through, jumps around. It was interesting. He had the cone advantage. He had the sneak shot, but Pandas had the advantage there with the wall. Put it up so quickly, it just shut down that engagement. But Jake's running in now, and so is Rice. There's a lot of people here. Starting off game 1, I guess, pretty aggressively. Maybe wanting to put their points on the board. It is 10 games, 3 hours, but right-hand peak, beautiful play from Panda, proving why he just won that last fight. Not one to be messed with. This third party now is being third party. It is an absolute swarm fight here. The burst rifle comes out, trying to find his way through the walls, and he just can't come in. This is an absolute tussle. There's so many hands in the kitchen right now for this one.
That's right, and I mean, Panda's on a kind of tight situation here. He just got rocked by that shotgun, really setting him off right now. I mean, he still has the 4 points. He's off to the best start right here. Guys, we are in game number 1, so if you're tuning in, things are just kicking off. Look at the momentum that the lobby is kind of moving at right now. This is big time right here, as everyone wants the points. It's make or break for the top 20, and Panda is going to find Riots here now. He's off to a great start, but don't forget, there is still one more player remaining here. It's Jake, who's going up for height.
Jake's got the high ground. He's got an advantage, but I mean, you have to put your money on Panda right now. He's actually held his own against 2 previous players. Can he make it 3 in a row? That is some huge points on the board if he can then walk away with that. Has the flopper and 6 minis too. Has what is a really good loadout still. 1 launch pad too. So he's won these fights without losing too much health. Goes to double header with the 126. I mean, this might be someone we have to look out for today, Monster. He's just destroyed 3 people, and he's now got 13 points on the board. What, 5 minutes into game 1?
Right there, just like that. That's the kind of stepping into the new, reboot round that you want to be off to. But Nate Hill did kick things off in a kind of proper track as well with his first Elim, but now he's off to fend for himself. Not looking too good here, though. His pressure, his back's against the wall, getting, cranking up to height here. He's trying to rebounce back. It's the Harpoon that's putting pressure on the fresh builds. Remember, that Harpoon will break those builds. Gaining control here, though. He's going to inch on out. Is he going to be able to find this shot? That is his floor right there. Good block. He's playing some decent defense. Good side jump as well. Goes for the trade, and now he wants it. Good block here. He's just taking control. This player is slipping through all the builds, but he's trading the shots that he needs here with the green tactical shotgun shot. The shot is going to slip through the build, though. Perfectly timed for Moby. And that's going to be the fall of Nate Hill here.
It's really good builds there. It's interesting to see. He still has it. Nate Hill being dominant for so long, still has the builds, took high ground, but again, just the shots. He just didn't know how to take that advantage when he had it, pressed the advantage from above, and take some serious damage. We have Taki here, which should be pretty much close to Loonies, who we saw earlier at Shark, so maybe trying to disengage from that Shark Island area, but very deep in Storm. Looking like, I know EU's over, this looking like a very Frey-esque play. We got out on the islands, getting a whole bunch of floppers, spending some time in the Storm to get those very valuable health meds towards endgame, and finds a med kit along the way. He might just be going for a really late rotate.
Yeah, it's definitely looking so right now. And look, he's going to find some leftover loot from the path of whoever kind of wrapped up this island right here. And take a look at that. He's going to take it for the road. There is a player coming in straight towards him at the speed of which looks like a boat. So this is going to be a straight sound indicator for Taki. This guy's going to jump out and what I believe is going for a campfire nearby. As Taki is inching his way straight towards it. Yes, we hear the Harpoon weapon going off. It's Mars, OW. Mars, one of the popular ones that players were looking out for. Popular players here just in the reboot round itself. It's going to get caught slipping right there. And that's it for him, honestly.
I mean, there's always a bigger fish, especially when it comes to the islands. It's just, you can always go for those plays. You can stay out deep and then see as he pulls up, not for a campfire, but obviously just for a few fishing holes. We've seen how much floppers have changed the meta, especially endgame, being able to just tank Storm for a while, go for maybe a late high ground retake. But with this current placement format, you touched on it in the break, getting top 10, you secure placement points every time. 1 or 2 floppers can be the difference of 4 or 5 placement points in this current meta. So Taki now walking in with 6 of them. He's got a phenomenal loadout.
It is right there. Using the boats, kind of boost on across now. It's going to be his opportunity to get back to the zone nice and quick here. We're hopping in with another person who's looking for big opportunities here. It's Benny. Benny, one of our controller players, very, very dominant on the scene. He's been around for such a long time. One of the earlier pickups for the FaZe team here. See how Benny's going to play out here. It looks like he's trying to set up to protect himself. Very nicely done. That's already his floor here. Good pressure right now, honestly. That's a white shot, so no shield on this guy. Benny's trying to set the jump in, and there it is. He's going to finish up Llama real quick. There's more players nearby in the map.
We're seeing a lot of those fast engagements. It's a sign of the current meta right now. So fights are ending quite quickly, and you'll notice people aren't going for that high ground building that we saw from Nate Hill earlier. I mean, might be something to kind of come a testament to how long he's been around for. That high ground building used to be that real strong suite, where right now you see more of these box fights, and these fights are closing out very, very quickly. Again, a lot of these players know 10 games, 3 hours. You can either go big or go home here with these limbs, but as they start to run out of the games, as it starts slipping through, top 20 is a tall ask. I think you need to get a lot of eliminations. So those players like Nate Hill, who in week 2 just fell short, it was usually due to not enough eliminations. They had the consistent placements, but just couldn't find enough aggression.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of how it is, right? You really have to find your footing in every step of the way, honestly, whether it be placement or elims. We'll see, though. We're jumping in with Vix right now, who is just kind of kicking off his game and trying to get his momentum going here. Loadout looking so good right now. Tactical shotgun, the power shotgun. Make power plays with that legendary AR, heavy sniper to back it up. And he's got a launch pad to go with it, so he's kind of chilling right now. He's running past some old enemy builds, though, trying to take a long rotate around. Just notice the line there shows where the zone is. The zone's off to the east. He's going way south of zone right now, really trying to find his, I guess, a safe path to the zone. But little does he know, he's crossing paths with other players who's already on the way here. Let's see if he can hit this heavy sniper right here. This is going to be big for him. We're following for a reason, and that's the reason right there. It's Nanolite. No way. Nanolite goes
one of those
down.
safer players, obviously on this deep rotation. Nanolite performed insanely well at DreamHack. He came top 5. He's someone who I've had eyes on quite recently, but he is a very passive, safe player, and he, I guess, he can't find his way out of the aggression there. It was a smart rotate going all around the backside, not wanting to rotate here near Misty. A lot of the players from that north side of the map would have been pushing down through that Misty River, so smart choice to rotate behind the mountains and gets another elimination for it too.
Look at this, Tezza using up 2 Slurpfish right there to go from 0 shield to now max. Looks like he was beamed for crossing the Misty Meadows right there. So you see why players opt to skate around it. You want to avoid some of these major points of interest, especially this early into the game here. But Tezza is not going to be avoiding this drop. Not at all. Not for the slightest bit. He wants to reap the rewards from this. This is going to be a second launch pad for him here if Tezza comes out successful right now. He doesn't decide to shoot it down. Instead, he's going to wait for it to land here. Leaving his top open, though. There is a player right nearby. You can see. Okay, he gets away with pulling it the first time. I heard a C4 come down. It's not going to be anything, though, as he lands a 75 shot here. Ozzy, he needs one more. Another 75. It's going to be 150. And another 75. So it's 3 in a row right there. Upgraded shotgun for him now.
Well, yeah, so he had the purple pump out of the airdrop, and I got excited by that, but no, uses the green tack to take down Squish and takes away his legendary pump, so his loadout's looking very good. Dab, dab, dab. Well, Tezza, sorry, was one of those players that did just miss out of qualifying last week, came 109. Sorry, 206, so he was quite far away, 109 points. Needs to jump up there quite a lot with the aggression that we just saw, but he's hunting down the launch pad, so he must be feeling pretty confident. Double launch pad in the back pocket. There is going to be a lot of verticality potentially in this zone with these high mountains, so I think those launch pads are going to be invaluable. Quite often you see around Misty having to use those launch pads to get off high ground to go back down the verticality.
Yeah, in order to hit that top 20, you see on average, you need close to 20-ish or so elims to be in the safety, kind of that safety bubble to break your way through. So you're going to need 2 or 3 elims a game if you want to secure your way. Anyone that has a few coming in early is setting themselves up for success all the way through without a doubt. Here's Vivid, who's going up for height right now, recycling enemy builds. We saw someone do this earlier and get punished for it. This time around, it's not going to be him. But seeing this player get shot right in front, he knows heavy sniper. He's got the gap closed already. Is he going to take the dive here? No, instead, he's just going to continue to worry about his own personal placement here, going for the safe zone first, leaving those guys to fight behind here on the storm line. And honestly, this is a great rotate.
Yeah, he knew that was going to be a congested side of zone there. He knew he got tagged with a heavy sniper, so he has to stop and build up so he can rotate forward. I was just about to say, you can see that old school prowess from Vivid, knowing how to rotate. He wants to get to the other side of zone. He knows that's where all these players are going to be coming in, and these kind of fights are going to break down that he does not want to be involved in. We have Reboot round now on the back foot, has the minis and has the big pods, but does he have time to get them off? He's trying to get out. Beautiful builds. Nice little side jump into hard mats. He's got the metal out now. Doesn't opt for the mini, just wants to go for the big pot. He does still have one of those in his back pocket. Has a really good loadout. He's got the heavy sniper, epic tack, can put out some serious damage, but Milk's right now, maybe hopefully going to leave this one. He does. He's giving him time to heal up. He knows there's no point going too aggressive here on this edge. We see Binny from earlier rotating all the way around now. Also, never mind, Milks wants to go aggressive. He wants on this wall. He tagged him a while ago, and that's enough for him to be confident to push the fight, but Reboot round pushing him back. Flexes that epic tack, says, look, I've got a pretty decent gun here. I mean, I'm healed back up, man. I don't know what you're doing.
That is right. We know the power of the shock and the tack attack. Really get in the box and wrap things up quick. Reboot's going to use that little moments here now to back up, find himself to safety, but not before more pressure comes in. And he's just running out of material right now. So honestly, it is make or break moment for Reboot. We're going to see if he can swing things around here. This fight that he's getting into with YouTube FW here. Got to make some big plays right now. He's got the heavy sniper trying to get the reload off. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Instead, this player jumps in the box, and it's 198 with the 2 shotgun shots that he puts on that player right there. There's another one underneath. The heavy sniper comes out. The double edit comes in. And once again, another 50-50. There's another player shooting that floor out. And Reboot round just seems like he can't catch a break. Not just yet.
He's still got the 4 floppers, 6 minis. He's got quite a lot of material. He's got a big refresh now. And with the heavy sniper, you can go for those plays. So he backed himself. He used the materials quite heavily, like you said. But with that heavy sniper, he knew that he could just pretty much full send it and try and get in someone's box. We've been talking about competitive royalty. We have Reverse 2K here as well. Someone who qualified for World Cup, is known as a phenomenal solo player. Hasn't found his way through FNCS yet. He was very, very close in week 2. Had a good performance, but falling short. Have to see if he can maybe pull it off now. 0 eliminations in a really good position, though, with a really good loadout and material.
Definitely looking good right here. The place you want to be, honestly, is up this mountain, though. Because, you know, worst case scenario, this thing might just go up with the half in, half out. We'll see. Anyone who's down here with no launch pad like Reverse is going to be in quite the struggle. Not a bad time to get proactive, as he's going to find Thresh and all of Thresh's goodies as well. It's going to be more material for him to kind of branch his way out. Even upgraded shotguns as well, and AR here if he wants to take the kind of option here, and he is. He's going to go ahead and go for it, deciding now if he wants to or not. All this extra metal, yes, gain that real estate here. This is all his right now.
That's big for him. I mean, most players know Reverse 2K would be known for that safer placement style. So picking up elimination, getting a nice refresh, he can just harp out. He's got a few people around him, but there's actually less people up here on the mountain than what I would think. This is where you want to be right now, because I mean, if zone goes back down, you've still got a good advantage. And we see Loonies, who we saw earlier, up there. He's got that grappler, remember. So in this zone, this is exactly what he wants. A mountain zone with the grappler. You have such a strong position on top of everyone. You can just take high ground and jump off it whenever you want, basically.
Yeah, that is true. He's definitely set up for success the way the zone is playing into his favor here. Here's a take a look, or jump back in with Tezza Dab, who, again, we touched down with Tezza 200th, pretty much, just shy of top 200 last weekend. Seems to play for placements. He's a placement style player, really looking to up the eliminations this time around. That's the kind of difference maker for him to pull through for the grand finals right now. He's off to a good start. He's off with 2 eliminations already. I mean, obviously, every single lobby is going to be more stacked than anything else he's played up until this point. Even with all the, what we like to call W key, right? The aggression in this format. Things are settling down now. We are still going to be looking at some big moving zones coming in soon. And the kind of geography, the map, the way it's going to play out is going to make it that much more intense and more difficult.
If this zone goes east, look how many players there are right on the west side. If they have to make their way up over this mountain and then down, that is going to be absolute shambles. We're going to have to see, some community launch pads. I mean, he goes for the placement, but that was a nice, safe elimination. That was pretty much incredibly low risk, all reward there. Picks up a nice elim, another 4 points. The loot gets taken by the harpoon, but what does he really need? Maybe, what, a better AR? He's still got legendary pump, 145 mats, good meds. He didn't need any of that loot, but I think he'll take the 4 free points from the elimination.
But right there, Ozzy, the zone pulls pure south as everyone is now running like madmen up this mountain here. Elise trying to get himself sorted and situated up. I see Vix up there. I saw Zypha as well. These are players that are now parked in pretty alongside Luniz. They still have more to go. Look, Elise has to go all the way out and around this mountain. He does have a launch pad though.
He gets taken out. So the grappler shifted hands. That was a massive game for him. He's now made it into where those placement points start hitting heavily, and he goes down with the loadout he needs. I know from watching Loonies, he is a streamer as a player. He does sometimes lack that patience and that mental. So once he starts having a bad game, it'll be interesting to see if he can bounce back from this, because he's going to need to. He's got plenty of games to do it, but top 20 is going to be a tall ask now. As the Elise trying to get into the box, going aggressive on this rotate. It pulls the opposite side. Everyone has to make their way over this mountain, and Elise has the time to just go for an aggressive elimination, but can't find his way into the box. He's up against the wall now. Epic tack in hand. Here's the third party come out. Sees that as pressure on the other wall, but the enemy inside the box able to hold these walls, and Elise has to probably back off, I'd imagine. Oh, never mind. He's still going for this. He wants this so badly. I don't think he's actually gotten any tags. He's getting face to the cone, face to the floor, and it's Vix, who we saw earlier, pick up that elimination with a heavy sniper. He had the loadout to close this out, and I think that's the story of today. These guys are all set up for success, and they're just falling short in game 1.
Those elims are the biggest ones right there. This late into the game, Elise now with the launch pads, the extra shield, the refresher on material. He is looking so good to take this game away. 3 launch pads in the inventory now. Ozzy 1 step ahead of the competition once again here. This zone is going down and off the mountain, down towards the shorelines, out on the back half of the map. This is your first kind of full moving zone here in Zone 6. Yes, it is still over land.
Yeah, it's a tough
zone. It is still
zone.
over land at least.
I mean, I've seen this one here. A lot of people have been talking about recently. Maybe do we see a bit of the... I know it's called the stutter pad for trick shotters, possibly the Arab pad. He's kind of coined it recently. We talked to him earlier. Using that stutter pad off the high ground to just launch yourself straight down. The glider doesn't pull, and you get to just kind of traverse all this verticality in such a quick instant, and no one can shoot you. It's interesting to see whether Elise maybe goes for that, or whether he wants to be the one who takes this high ground, because it's going to be a very, very high ground, though. A lot of people... There it is dropping down. The high ground gets a tack shot, though. Finds a limb on his way down. That's the problem. As you're dropping down, there's verticality. You're so exposed to those kind of shots from Elige. And look at his loadout right now. It can't get any better. He doesn't gain anything but 4 points from these limbs, but that is still a lot to gain. And he's slowly dropping down. Doesn't want to have happen to him what he just did to another player, so he's going to box up and just wait for people to drop down first. Goes for the pad. It isn't the stutter pad that maybe could have been better, but he can now pick where he wants to drop, and there it is. Never mind. Finds a beautiful mid-ground layer, and he can just set himself up here.
This is such a crazy fight. When is it enough, though? Is he low enough now? I think he is. I think this now finding himself kind of in the middle of the pack here. Everyone else still has to come down. Remember, he also has this rocket launcher right here. He can put this RPG to big use on anyone that's too high up. And this is where it's probably going to come into play now. Players are starting to suspend themselves out in kind of over here. Things are popping off. I still see reverse 2K in the feed. Just now I see Vivid fall there as well. Zypha falls too. We're now approaching that top 10. Here's Elige inching his way back up the mountain. Running short on material, though. He's trying to see if he can find himself another frag right now. This is getting more and more intense.
He's got the rockets to try and open up these builds and find his way through. He's looking for the launch pad, finds some clear space. No, he misses it. He goes for the clear space now, 50 health, hits his head, which actually makes it a pretty decent pad, so he doesn't stay in the air, doesn't leave himself vulnerable to shots. That was a very, very nice launch pad, and now he's back on front side of zone, but you touched on it, only has 5 builds in his back pocket. Elige actually struggling. He made it through into week 2. Can he get another limb? He can. That could be the refresh he needed. He struggled in week 2. He only picked up 32 points total, and he's on 31 now into the first game, so having a phenomenal performance today for him. Maybe consistency is something to look out for him, but here we see it. There's 7 players alive, and he's got everything he needs except for those materials.
It's crazy. He's playing that ultimate low ground right now. Doesn't want anything to do with the height. This is going to be a beautiful RPG, though, which is going to open up the breaking of the builds. He's going to actually catch that one as well as that shot connects. No healing for the falling players, but it's okay, as he is still in the running right now. Very much so. He's going to steal that one, too, with just one AR shot. 174 and another body. It's reverse 2K who falls now. Top 5 remain here. Elige still kind of looking to connect right now. Someone's coming out the zone. Ozzy, these are your final players. He's on fire right now. One more shot in a launch pad and a grappler in his inventory. He's going to go up. He's trying to find the last shotgun shot. Little does he know, the guy on height doesn't have anything left. It's just going to take one good shot. Can he get it? And yes, he does. The barrel stuff with the AR seals the deal.
Elige runs away with it. He just doubled his points effectively from an entire tournament in week 2 to pick up 65 points in week 1. I mean, game 1, sorry, of Reboot round. That is incredible. He played that to near perfection, the pad, and that is arguably the most difficult zone you're gonna see. Like, that's a throwback to obviously Polar Peaks. Have you seen a zone close out like that, Zeke, in the old maps where it's just so much verticality and so much movement?
Dude, it can get very difficult, but for Elige there, with that grappler, that's really what played the factor in him getting that win. Again, as you kind of pointed out, in week number 2, 291st with 32 points. And in game 1, he's like, all right, listen, you wanted points, I got your points. Hold them right here. That's absolutely insane. And you got to think, there's only 20 spots available. So for someone like Elige to already start that far ahead of the pack, he's got to be feeling really good about himself. The problem will be is who else will look to step up as well, because the tides can turn after a single game here, Monster.
I mean, we saw it in the EU. We saw players that were just there all the way through to the mid game, right? All the way to the middle of the pack, and then all of a sudden fizzle out at the very end. So momentum is huge. It's in his favor right now. Staying consistent is going to be what he's going to have to solidify for himself today.
You gotta wonder.
You gotta chase
here
down that top 20. There's no point. Like, there's no point going middle of the pack. You started strong, you set the pace, but top 20 is a very tall order. What was it, about 145 points for EU? Like, he's got 65 in game 1, but all it takes is go down a couple times early, and it's gonna shake things up massively for him. The 32 points last week does scare me a little bit for his consistency, but he set the pace for everyone else to follow. I have to think he's probably coming out of that one at least top 3.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's literally like that consistency factor. That is all that matters right here in the Reboot round, right? You have to make it in the top 20. You have to hold that spot with everything that you have. Is 65 points enough, right? Like, you called out 135, maybe 140 roughly is what we kind of like need to be edging on. So what does he need to do to kind of hold on to this place? Now, I will throw this over to you guys to ask as we head into the next game. So take us on in with your answers, babies.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, thank you, Zeke. Thanks for setting it up for us. And yes, what is it going to take for these players to hold it all together, to pull in the glue? I mean, obviously, if you had a struggle coming into this, you didn't qualify up until now. something has to be done. Something has to be changed in your playstyle. We'll find out soon if it was some adjustments that he made from the previous weeks till now that's making him shine right now. But here we are with Sway, the one and only creative warrior himself.
Yeah.
Aussie antics. What do you think about Sway?
Making a push.
Yeah.
He's picking himself up there competitively, picks up an easy elimination. I mean, that was a pretty easy one to grab, and then takes Mice's drum gun. If he can get that in his pocket for this fight, no, doesn't prioritize Mice's drum gun, goes aggressive with the SMG, 78 white tag, and he does. He secures agency now just like that. 2 eliminations and the drum gun. He's starting strong. You touched on a creative warrior. I mean, we didn't have to see really any of the fancy builds and edits that Sway is so known for. That was just run and gun there. Takes down 2 elims, and he's got agency to himself now.
Kicking it off, 3 elims right here now. Kind of ramping his way up to 25 points with the reboot card. He can just go ahead and jump down, or the Volt card. He can go ahead and pick up whatever it is that he needs. His reboot round is off to a proper start. Last time he was here competing, he only finished just outside of the top 200 in week 2, so still a relatively okay performance. Can he go ahead and step it up now? Here's visuals, though, coming in with some real sneaky play. He is going to open that door, though. The cone's going to come out, trying to see if he can trap this player, but no, it's not going to be enough. Oh, actually, that was his floor, too, so he was trying to piece control all the builds here. Now visuals is going to dodge that rocket barely, though, just for standing back here. Player's backed into the corner. All he needs is one more shot. There it is. Macwood gets taken out.
Goes down. One of those smarter players, obviously going for this safer drop there. Had the rocket, tried to ricochet off the wall to get a shot, but visuals pushed in quickly. I'm as surprised as you are. That piece control on the floor was quite interesting. I think Macwood jumped up into the cone. He took the floor so he could still push from underneath. Really aggressive play, because if he hadn't got that floor, it would have been quite hard to push through. Would have had to break in maybe from the roof and expose himself a little bit more. So very interesting play. And I'm just looking on the top left of some of the names I've already seen in this lobby. It's looking pretty good. I saw Spade, I saw Thresh. So there's some big names in here that Sway's going to have to maybe contest. We talked about him being around that, top 200. I think eliminations and that aggression has never been Sway's issue. It is those more stacked end games where you need that competitive knowledge and those rotations. We've seen recently talks of him pairing up with clicks in duos, so I think he's starting to phase away from that creative warrior name, though. He's picking up some tier 1 pros for the team game modes too. I think he's making a really solid push to create a name for himself as a top tier pro, and I mean, there's no better way to do it than making out of reboot rounds to play a solo grand final.
That is right. And just one thing to touch about, we talk about like building that competitive knowledge. Now that I think about it, visuals open that door at the exact time that Macwood was breaking the floor above him. That's how he was able to grab it before Macwood could. So all just, somewhat of an interesting high-tech engagement right there. We're sitting with visuals right now, who's going to get into his next engagement, most likely right here by the Shark. We'll see who it is who's skating on by here, cruising on by in the Bolt. Can he hit the shots that he needs? This player does pull up with the loot. It's the good loot. It's Zero who's going to deliver all the goods right here. And yeah, visual, hit the dance move. You have to at this point.
You've got to be suspicious when you see a big pot lying on the ground this early next to a bush. Visuals just left a little treat out, little teaser. Could have grabbed it, but thought, hey, maybe he's coming past in the boat. Let's see if he spots it. And he does. That little treat gains him the grappler, which we talked about being so important in the last game. I mean, you see it. It's one of those tricks. It'll work in a public match. It'll apparently work in one of the highest competitive lobbies there are. People are just, sometimes their brain switches off. They don't think, maybe, why is this here? And the trap was baited, and it worked.
Here's a look at Crimzo, one of the players that was so close to qualifying. 116th place out of the top 80, needed to move on. So he's someone to keep an eye out here. It'll be such a huge upset if he can't pull through. Such a prominent performer and across other team-based modes. Let's see. He's already found one elimination. It's Agent Asylum who's hiding out. That player that he just took out, though, Buff, didn't have any shield, so he's probably assuming that they're both in somewhat of a shambles situation. Keep an eye on the feed now as we jump back with Thresh. Here he is, hunting right now. Barely any ammunition. My gosh, his AR doesn't really have much of anything, as does his SMG. Doesn't have a single bullet in it left. He's got 3 shotgun shots, Aussie, and some bandages to work off of right now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the fact that he's got Sky's AR, but then we saw another play with the grappler earlier, so I don't really know what happened there. Maybe a very, very scuffed shark fight. He's getting knocked down. He has no more builds left. That was the last one he does. He picks up one elimination, but he goes down to Purse. Interesting how that Shark fight must have played out to get one of the mythic items, but not the second. So Purse here has Sky's AR, but doesn't have the Vault to show for it. Could maybe jump back into Shark, assuming that they've all left, and go maybe grab that Vault loot. This could have been a very long, drawn-out engagement where Purse followed out from the Shark, but interesting to see how that would have played out.
Hey, I mean, at least Purse does manage to have the ammunition to kind of back it up here. As you can see, he's looking pretty good. I think he's looking around right now trying to see if the grappler was lost cause there. But yeah, to him, it also doesn't make any sense as to why this one player would have a mythic AR, but not everything else to kind of fill out the deal there. Here's Agent Asylum, though. Not moving around, not making a sound, allows him to stay alive right now as Crims backs off of this kind of area, this fortress that Asylum was hiding in. There was still loot here too. Look,
He's still got a bandage cannon, so I have to imagine that maybe he dropped here with someone else contesting, started to get some loot, and now he's found himself here. Just again, a lot of interesting situations closing out on the early game that we're just tuning into. And I don't know how Agent Asylum got himself in this position, but he has to stay quiet. Obviously, we can see that Crims is disengaged, but he can't. He has that bandage cannon to stay in Storm if he wants to risk it that much, but he's gonna have to get in at some point, and he's gonna have to find some loot. I don't know how he's gonna find his way back in this game. There's 10 games, 3 hours. Maybe he just goes aggressive here, full sends it on someone like Crims to see if he can get the loadout, because I can't see him pulling himself back into it without going for an early elimination.
that is true. Or maybe swinging through what would be leftover loot from one of these old POIs. We'll see if Agent Asylum can bounce back. I mean, he was taken out in week 1 with a not so great performance, only coming in 440th overall. Crims, though, Crims is one of the stronger competitors. I mean, just take a look. He's hopping around here, jumping around the main streets of Sweaty Sands right now, trying to see if he can get into any kind of interaction with another player. Talk about interactions, though. It's Camp and Sane who are going toe-to-toe, and they both are going to exchange some fair shots to one another. And look at that. The edit comes out from Sane. Camp's going to jump in the box with no HP, Ozzy. Oh my gosh, he's going for the full 50-50. He didn't even care.
I mean, he had to there. Sane went for that pre-edit, so Sane predicted which wall Camp was going to come down and try and take with the pickaxe, goes for that peanut butter, that top right edit, and then got the heavy shot back out. So Camp didn't let him do it twice. He was ready for the quick edit the second time, and as soon as the quick edit came out, he just shot straight through, didn't even go for the wall. And we see Reboot round again, someone that we saw last time. Obviously, I see High Sky on the screen. High Sky, one of those players with high expectations, coming off really successful team game modes, but didn't actually even make it to week 2. He didn't qualify out of week 1, struggling to find purchase. So you have to imagine, was it a tough week for High Sky, or maybe is he just struggling in this current solo format? He is known for being a very good IGL, very good game knowledge, but usually a bit more passive and safe, and struggling to get those elims, which, as we've seen today, Reboot round, not struggling to get at all.
That's right. Here's Colin Fraggs, though, another veteran who's been around for a long while here on the NA East kind of region here. All big dogs going toe-to-toe right now. Good edits right here as Reboot rounds on his back tails. Visual's also on the run right now. Sway is kind of hunting around the backside. Reboot's going to time to jump in perfectly, though. And take a look. He's now going to come up on the grappler here, too. All big kind of a turnaround here for Reboot round, as all of a sudden now the confidence surge is there as he already has the pump shotgun shot kind of all predetermined and lined up. And look, that's another upgrade here. Big decisions to make now.
Jeez.
3 big pots, 6 minis, 3 floppers, grappler. He has everything he needs right now. He's probably just going to sit and chill, because this could be a game to just take a clean victory with how much resource he's set up with. But wait, also, we have another fight here. Fatal versus Leo.
Another one. TJ on the high ground right now. Leo TJ's got 5 fish in the back pocket. Doesn't really need to use any of them. Closes it out quickly. Has the high ground advantage, and that blue pump going to work with the headshot critical damage. So he takes that one. He knows another player down there. We saw that beautiful third-person perspective from the Obs team. So we know someone's here as well. Obviously, Leo TJ knows that someone's here. I think I saw Bread. I'm not 100% sure on who it was, but trying to find his way through now if he can. Tries to take the wall with the pump. Always more effective with attack because of the higher fire rate and the extra ammo in the clip, but you're still putting the pump to work. Has that harpoon too if he wants to maybe try and phase through or just take these walls instantly, as Brett is down to building in the wood and a nice shot through the top. TJ, he knows his positioning here. He's going to try and get on in if he can. Finds his way through. Has that pump in hand. Takes the wall too. The fluidness of this edits are coming out. He's taking walls. He's pushing forward. He keeps moving through and keeping himself safe. The right hand peek though cracks him back. He has the one slurpfish. Only has floppers left. Hits for 90. But then great movement. Has the little crouch strafe. And there he goes. He upgrades plays to the purple pump. That's 2 big eliminations for Leo TJ, the first of this game, and a lot of aggression on an area that I guess, I mean, it's near that heavy snipe henchman spawn. It's a good spot, so not really sure. I guess near the slurp truck outside Salty.
That Surffish quite literally saving him. He only had 50 HP when he got the elimination trade. Otherwise, that would have been 0. So the perfect amount of heals right there, showing you how beneficial it is to have the instant heals basically in your pocket. Here's Tylar's. We're now hopping within the Slurpy Swamp area. And if you're just tuning in, guys, you are here for the start of the NA East region of the reboot round. We're looking at what would be only 10 games, their last opportunity. Unlike the other weekends, this is not a 2-day track until tomorrow, the grand finals. Reboot round's only 1 day. 10 more games of performance. The do or die now, the make or break moment for a lot of these players.
I know these are the box fights you'd love to see. I know obviously Monster, you've been doing a whole bunch of VOD review content out there and stuff. It's just so great to see those slow, methodical box fights like this. Just using those door edits, keeping yourself safe.
Oh my gosh, he's in the cone.
Slow, methodical. MEPWY just walks straight through. Doesn't want to go slow, methodical. Sits inside that cone. Enemy doesn't realize he's there. Takes the chance and he dances on him. He obviously went for the same door edit twice. Maybe made himself a little bit too predictable. And he's made to pay for it.
That's right. I mean, it is all just a mind game at the end of the day. The unpredictable are usually ones that win right there. Here's Jav jumping in the box. Very simple, very easy. Making it look that simple here for Reese. He goes for the full 50-50. But now this player's listening to the shots coming in. There's players moving in and pressuring right now. This is not the situation any of these guys want to be in. He has 3 medkits, though. He has plenty of time to take his time here. The additional bandages as well, just sitting down below him. Yes, that's right. He's going to sit here. He's going to heal. He's going to kind of vibe out right now and not do anything too risky. That's your boy Snood right there. Well. He's Rohan's.
Yeah. Looking good. He's looking good. He's up there. And Rohan's looking really good with the loadout. Has that heavy snipe in the back pocket just to get those instant refreshes. Already has 2 eliminations. The launch pad doesn't really need a refresh. Haven't seen too many zones go down towards this Slurpy Swamp area. I mean, it's interesting. It has a lot of spare shield in it. A lot of these trees are going to provide quite a lot of cover from those players to the north. I think in this game, from what I'm seeing, it looks like rotations are getting a little bit cleaner maybe as these games play out. A lot of people already in zone. This congested side isn't as congested as we saw that last game. But again, that was a mountain zone. It's always a lot harder to traverse. So Snood and Rohan sitting in a nice good spot next to each other. Same idea, same plan, but just not really giving too much aggression towards each other. See Agalor there. We got a lot of old school royalty in this lobby.
Yeah, I see J-Mock. I see Ghoul as well. So this is definitely a scene of veterans just kind of littered about the field right now. I mean, that's what the NA East region's always been about, is most of the players here make content, right? Just the fact that they're constantly present out there, either uploading videos and doing this such as that. This is why we can be a little bit more relatable towards a lot of the names here.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, we're still looking at an intense game here, Aussie. I mean, things are coming down to the wire right now. Is this just all pressure, right? He needs these shots.
So
they want
close.
any kind of elims.
He hits 1 white tag. If he hit a couple more there, the bloom not really in his favor. Can't really find his way through, but he's got that heavy sniper. See if he uses it. Is he going to go in the box? He is. Pulls it out last minute. Hits the 79 shot. Takes him out. There it is. He goes down. Takes down Cracked iOS. Possibly, I'm guessing, maybe one of the mobile players here in today's contingents. Obviously, a lot of the mobile players from console FNCS were able to qualify into week 1, which gives them the right to play here today, and that's impressive. A mobile player trying to go up against someone of the caliber of Rohan's. Unfortunately, it doesn't really come down to what I would call a fair fight. Rohan's kept that heavy snipe in the back pocket to the last second. Made sure he pulled it out right before he hit the wall. If you pull it out early, gives that sound cue, they then know they're on the wall, and then they can kind of hold it. But we see Nick A30 here. I'll let you take it away. Your boy here doing his best. Content creators on top. 9 points on the board, so he's not off to too bad of a start.
Hey, this is my guy, man. You know, he's been practicing all weeks. He's been doing his fair share of his own review, right? Not only on his own gameplay, but taking a look out for other competitors. Someone like Nick just proving that if you put in the effort, you can definitely roll with the best. We'll see if he has made some substantial strides, though, with all the practice. It's now time to put it into play, right? It's one thing to do all the studying and whatnot. It's another thing to actually act on it and put it into gear. So we'll see if he can do it. Let's see if he can pull up the motions right now and represent for the AFAM.
it's always interesting, right? So like Nikkei 30 streams to tens of thousands of people regularly, like, you know, and the pressure's not there, but then you add the tournament scenario, and all of a sudden the pressure hits and you start to get nervous, and it's pretty crazy to see. It's change of worlds. He's used to having a lot of people watch him, but has that competitive streak, has that competitive nature, and like you said, just a great spokesperson for that, always wanting to improve. That if you want to get better at Fortnite, you can put in the hours, you know, do your VOD reviews, learn from the best, and again, I think Nick's always been known for it, just the modesty and the positivity too, of just like, well, today wasn't my day, but I'm gonna take what I learned from it, I'm gonna push forward, and I'm gonna try and do better next time. Just always that ultimate model of just positivity first.
100%. Here's JB Cal, who spent a lot of materials trying to inch out before getting hit, and then he backs right back up into his old base here, trying to see what he can scavenge back from what was left of the tarps here. Remember, Nick is still perched up right above him, Agent Asylum just south of them, and they all have to rotate with one another now. There it is. JB's on its way, as is Agent. Here's a look at Ghoul, Agers, FaZe, Sway. All big names in the region here. Ghoul's going to open this shot, though, with a huge shotgun shot with the AR follow-up. And he's going to connect now. Minigun, the Brutus minigun. He doesn't have an elim, so it shows that he was king of the grotto. Just lucky for him here, Aussie.
Yeah, same time. He's got the grey iron hand, but obviously not going to use that one. He's going to go straight for that minigun. That is not the sound you want after a heavy 80 shot on you. The pressure the minigun can put out is incredible, but maybe Ghoul going a little bit passive with it. I mean, the zone did pull very far away. Maybe that zone showed and he thought, like, this is not worth it. I'm going to have to back off and rotate. I think a lot of players there would have gone for that elimination, especially in this format of top 20 or nothing. But Ghoul making the rotate, comfortable in his loadout. He does have a very good loadout to secure those maximum placement points. So see if he can maybe get those and just kind of disengage. A lot of people already in this zone, so as much as zone pulled far away, he's actually got a pretty easy beeline straight in from the looks of it.
It's kind of crazy though. Ghoul did really well last week just off of placement in its own. In his 7 games, he finished mainly within the top 25 of every single game. Only 2 of his games was outside of top 60, so he's one of those players that play for placement, very methodical, so him backing off there is just playing to his play style, to say the least. Talking about playstyles, though, we're on the opposite playstyle. It's FaZe Sway, who normally come early in mid-game will be diving into players' boxes with a special kind of ramp boostage. Luckily, though, this is here in the Slurpy Swamps area. So for him being here so early now, he can just hang out. He can basically buy his way freely to the mid-game. If he just pulls the half in, half out, he can make that end game.
Yeah, he's got the launch pads as well. This is going to honestly be the make or break game for FaZe Sway. He's gotten close to those placements. Can we see that signature aggression come out? Maybe pick up a couple of eliminations, but is he going to be able to handle this more stacked end game and rotate properly with it? He has the launch pads for it, but I mean, in the current meta, everyone's getting so good. I feel like the launch pads sometimes are actually more of a curse than a gift. People use them thinking they're going to have the free rotates like back in the day, and players are getting good, man. There's a lot of mythic items out there. You got Sky's AR lying around. Like, sometimes going to the Sky isn't the way, and we see zone half pulls completely across. He's maybe going to look for that launch pad angle, maybe over all these builds, finds the player in front of him, gets some heavy drum gun shots. He's going to go aggressive on that. You talked about the aggression earlier. This will be very big. This is either going to be make or break now, Sway. The third party comes out, needs to be careful. Never mind, he has it completely under control. The aggression coming out, that's 4 points right there. And now he needs to make this rotate. There's a lot of people ahead of him. What do you reckon, Monster? You're going to go for the launch pad? He's going to try and walk it in. He sees maybe that player behind him. That could throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, I don't think he's in a rush, not at all right now, especially with all the commotion nearby. He's probably looking to see what he can find here.
There it is.
River's going to be so lucky he was crouched there, I swear, because Sway would have probably jumped on him. So now everyone gets to use the launch pad and get to safety here. They're now hopping back to the western portion of the swamps here, Aussie. And look, Sway's in the feed. Sway just found Gilly before getting taken out by Trunks. So, I mean,
that's
it's
5
all right.
though.
Yeah,
quite a lot of points, but this is right when those placement points start hitting. You talked about top 10 is where you're going to start guaranteeing a placement for every person alive, so just falling short. It is very stereotypical of Sway's playstyle. Very aggressive, can close out and finish eliminations like nothing like we saw, but needs to get a little bit better securing those placements. And look at the zone right now. Everyone is on this edge. If this rotating zone goes southwest again, they're all going to have to move another time. JB Cow, he's got to the end and he drops him down. 162 takes him down. That's Leo TJ that we saw earlier in that fight outside Salty, but doesn't even get a chance to respond. But JB now on the back foot. SMG comes out. He's got good shields here. He's got good meds. Needs the time to use them. Maybe goes through that slurfish and picks up those floppers, but he needs to try and get through this though. He needs to survive. Holding onto his walls at all costs. Edda's coming out, maybe a little bit panicked here on the low ground. Zone goes far northeast, so it's not too bad for these players, but 35 alive, it's going to be congested no matter where it goes.
That's right. I mean, he's doing all this for the loot. Remember, he left the flopper here, and he does want to heal up and eventually take it all back. But if he plays greedy right now, he's not going to be able to get anything for it. And there it is. Finally, he decides to use that slurpfish and then go in, hopefully, to grab these floppers now to stay alive. He is going to get the one that was left there. He still has more to go. Can he find this Elam, this white damage? And he is. It's Ramsey who falls now. And all of a sudden, Cal is in this game here. He has great loot, great resources to make the cut here. Everyone's flying across the field, so he's going to be able to just rotate for free right now. Look, there's no one on ground with him, essentially, on the layer. So just a free rotate. This is like better than getting a launch pad.
Yeah, it is. Same time it keeps you safer too. Just using everyone's old builds too. He's just following through. This is where it's going to start getting harder though. So most players are going to prioritize that rotate. They're not going to take shots back until they get into zone. So he's been safe until now because no one was in zone. But now they are. Age is up on the high ground. No surprise to see him there. This could be the game that catapults him up in the standings. We know how strong high ground is. I see New Liquid Fiber down there too. Oh, and it sounds like Aegis has Meowscles rifle up there, or at least a heavy AR with a rocket launcher. I think he's the one to look out for. Ghoul trying to use that minigun we saw earlier to good use to maybe pick up those eliminations here in the end game. He didn't pick up earlier, but did you see the feed there, Monster? Nick A30 and Crims both still in this as well. Nick A30, he's holding his own.
That is right. Still fragging off here in a top 20 situation. Fiber's going to fall there in the zone. And now the grappler comes to Ghoul's inventory. And he is so good with it. He's just cutting across right now. Such an easy rotate. The fact that this entire area was open and not a single build there. Making it nice and easy for him. Now let's see, we're approaching top 10 here. One less player still in the game. Wilgoo's still popping off. There's mobile players in the running right now. Here's Scar's gonna fall to Ghoul. Ghoul's playing this low ground phenomenally right now, playing on the outskirts. Nick A30 still in the end game. It's J Cal versus Nick A30. J Cal's gonna jump in the base. What is J Cal gonna do here? As he lets Nick slip away now, and Nick's getting pressure from two angles here. It's multiple shots.
Oh my gosh.
RPGs. It's just chaotic right now. We're all over the place.
Aegis goes down as well. He was on the high ground. He went down a little while ago, so I want to see who traded that out because he had the absolute loadout to close that one out on high ground. JB Calvin, the signature aggression, jumps up and takes down Trunks. Beautiful jump pump shot. Just closes that one out. Doesn't really need to gain much from this. He's not really gaining any of those floppers or any of those white meds. Just picks up more shield. 4 eliminations, 34 points on the board. Hear that drum gun coming out that was in the hands of Sway. It went over to Trunks, and there it's traded back out again. He might have time to pick it up, but I don't think so. Getting pushed on the edge. He does.
Oh my
Picks up the drum gun and easily puts it to work. 4 players alive. He's going to keep pushing forward. It's Crims who took the high ground. Someone that you were looking out for earlier who has that competitiveness. He knows how to play these lobbies. He is very, very good in stacked games, and he's showing why on the high ground.
Look at this. You got 2 players who just suddenly started focusing height up, but J Cal's doesn't care. He's not here to make any treaties. He's taking everyone out. He's on 7 eliminations, a rampage right now. Someone who is holding height, though, Crims, kind of vibing right now, putting that mythic pressure down. You can hear the fire rate of the shots. It's a good old-fashioned... Oh, no, it's actually Ghoul. I was wrong. Ghoul somehow manages to overthrow everything with the grappler.
It's proving maybe that earlier passiveness is what he needed. He held onto his Bruce minigun and was like, you know what, I'm backing myself as a placement player, but jumps down, backs himself on that shot, and it doesn't pay out for him. JB Cow, 68 points total with the 8 elimination victory. That is a massive point game for him. And Guldo coming in second. That fight earlier that he avoided taking obviously paid off for him. That's a lot of placement points in this format.
Hey, taking his time, and what a big swing in points right there for the player. He's going to take the victory, man. Such a good game. Actually holding it down from the low ground as well. Cal.
Dude, you love to see it. You saw, too, the moment that Ghoul pushed him, he was like, here's a shotgun shot. I'm swapping it to my mechanics. I know what's got to come out. It's going to be the drum gun. I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this fight and win. It's pretty good stuff, especially when we can look at both players, right? Ghoul there in 167 out of week number 2, and JB out of 255th. So these guys are looking to make that top 20 spot. Let's take a look at the standings, though. Let's see how things are going for NA East. Right now, after that game, that puts JB Cow in first place with 68 points. 8 total eliminations. So this was a very big game for him. But let's not forget either, Alicia's up there as well.
Yeah,
it is right.
5 points on the board. He's doing well. Spicy, another name that we haven't seen. So we got 4 victors at the top. Not surprising with how many points are up for grabs with a victory royale. 5 eliminations, but you can see down there we have Squish on the 9 eliminations to drop him into 47th. You have to worry about some of those players that aren't getting maybe those consistent placements and they're playing a more elimination heavy format, because we see Ghoul there with 3 elims 40th. So it's spread out so much. I feel like Ghoul had such a phenomenal performance, but he's still in 20th. He's only just in that contention to actually qualify.
I mean, take a look at a placer like Twitter Tab, NA East, right? Twitter's Tab. He's got a victory royale with only 2 elims and 41 points. So it just shows you that elims or victories are not enough to stay in top 20. It's still cutthroat. If someone is out fragging you, potentially you're still going to have a tough time to qualify.
Especially when we look there at the cutoff, right? 40 points. The rest is extremely close. Only a handful of points separating. And let's not forget, things like placement are 1 to 2 point differentials. Eliminations are 4. There you see Face Weight in 31st place. Agers right behind him. There's so many of these players we're so used to seeing. And this is probably about an hour in at the competition. So this is probably their second, maybe even third game. Maybe for some players, their fourth, depending on how early they were eliminated. A lot of these guys are still very close. This could still turn on a dime. Whereas I felt like in EU, there was very clear leaders, right? Like there were still people that were contesting for that 20th place. But for the most part, it was like, no, once these guys pulled out ahead, they were going to lock onto that. What do you guys think? Is it possible that they can hold this? You think, is it still possible very quickly? Can anything go? You think they're going to hold on to it? Quick thoughts, Monster.
I mean,
Aussie?
Oh, you go, Monster, you go with it.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Anything can happen.
I'm cursed. I'm not making predictions. I'm cursed. Anyone can